A nation had just witnessed the sea split before their eyes. A tyrant had been destroyed, and freedom had finally been granted. Yet, within days, that same nation would fall into one of the greatest acts of deviation in history. At the center of this collapse stood one man, a man who understood human weakness, a man who saw the truth, yet chose deception. A man who turned faith into doubt and certainty into illusion. This is the story of the Samiri, the man who led a nation to worship a lifeless creation, and whose name became a symbol of misguidance for all time. After years of oppression under Pharaoh, the children of Israel were finally liberated through a miracle that would echo through history. The sea parted, forming towering walls of water, and a path of safety opened for them. Behind them, destruction consumed their enemy. In front of them, a new beginning awaited. They had seen divine power with their own eyes. They had walked through a miracle. They had been chosen for guidance. Yet freedom does not immediately heal the heart. The scars of slavery, the attachment to material symbols, and the absence of deep-rooted spiritual conviction still lingered within them. Their faith, though awakened, was fragile. Among them lived a man, quiet, observant, and dangerously perceptive. He was known as the Samiri. Unlike others, he did not merely follow events, he studied people. He understood how quickly certainty could turn into confusion, and how easily hearts could be manipulated when leadership was absent. When Prophet Moses ascended Mount Sinai to receive divine commandments, the community was left in a state of waiting. It was a moment of vulnerability, and the Samiri saw opportunity. What followed was not an accident. It was a calculated corruption, a test not just of a people, but of the human soul itself. The Samiri was not a simple man driven by impulse. He was deliberate, patient, and deeply aware of human psychology. While others were celebrating their freedom, he was observing their weaknesses. The children of Israel, despite witnessing extraordinary signs, were still transitioning from a culture of oppression into one of belief and discipline. Their understanding of faith had not yet matured. They had seen miracles, but they had not yet internalized unwavering conviction. This gap was where the Samiri began his work. He started subtly, not with open rebellion, but with questions. Questions that appeared harmless, yet carried seeds of doubt. How do you worship a Lord you cannot see? Why wait for guidance when you can have something tangible before you? These were not questions of curiosity. They were tools of disruption. Slowly, whispers spread. Conversations shifted. Certainty weakened. The Samiri then proposed an idea, one that appealed directly to their lingering attachment to material value. He asked them to gather their gold and jewelry, claiming it would serve a meaningful purpose. The people, still uncertain and easily influenced, complied. They brought forward their ornaments, symbols of wealth, identity, and memory. But what they did not realize was that they were contributing to their own test. The Samiri collected the gold, not for a noble cause, but for a calculated deception. This was the beginning, not of a sudden fall, but of a gradual descent. A descent where truth would be replaced with illusion, and faith would be reshaped into something dangerously visible. As Prophet Moses remained on the mountain, his brother, Prophet Aaron, was entrusted with guiding the people. He called them to patience, to remembrance, and to remain firm upon the worship of the one God. But guidance requires hearts willing to accept it. The Samiri had already begun shaping a different narrative. Using the gold that had been gathered, he melted it and crafted a figure, a calf. But this was no ordinary sculpture. Through means known only to him and permitted as part of the test, the calf produced a sound, a hollow, echoing noise that gave the illusion of life. When the people saw it and heard it, something shifted. The intangible had now become visible. The unseen had been replaced with something they could perceive. And that was enough. The Samiri declared, "This is your God, and the God of Moses." It was a statement of immense deviation, not just false, but boldly misleading. Prophet Aaron immediately intervened. He warned the people, reminded them of the truth, and clarified that this was a test, a clear trial of their faith. But the Samiri had already captured their attention. And attention, when manipulated correctly, becomes belief. The people began to divide. Some resisted, holding firmly to the truth they had been taught. Others, however, found themselves drawn toward the calf, not out of conviction, but out of confusion, curiosity, and emotional weakness. This was not just a conflict between two ideas. It was a struggle between clarity and illusion, between patience and impulse, between truth and what merely appears convincing. And in that moment, many chose what they could see over what they knew to be true. As time passed, the situation intensified. What began as curiosity soon turned into acceptance, and then into devotion. Some among the children of Israel began to gather around the calf. They admired it, listened to its sound, and gradually their hearts began to attach themselves to it. This was the peak of misguidance. They were not ignorant people. They had witnessed miracles. They had been saved in a way no ordinary nation had ever experienced. Yet even then, they fell. Why? Because faith is not sustained by miracles alone. It is sustained by sincerity, discipline, and inner strength. The Samiri understood this. He did not force belief, he facilitated it. He created an environment where deviation felt acceptable, even reasonable. He positioned himself as a guide, subtly reinforcing the idea that what the people were doing was not wrong. Meanwhile, Prophet Aaron continued to warn them. He reminded them of their covenant, of their Lord, and of the consequences of turning away. But truth, when it competes with desire, often requires strength to accept, and many did not have that strength. This moment stands as one of the most powerful illustrations of human vulnerability. It shows that deviation does not always come through ignorance. Sometimes it comes through neglect, through hesitation, through the failure to stand firm when it matters most. The Samiri had succeeded, not by power, not by force, but by understanding the human heart and exploiting it. When Prophet Moses returned from the mountain, carrying divine commandments, he expected to find his people in a state of discipline and obedience. Instead, he witnessed something unimaginable. A group of his people gathered around a calf in a state of devotion. The shock was immediate. The disappointment was profound. This was not just disobedience. It was a direct betrayal of everything they had witnessed and been taught. He confronted them. The truth unfolded. Then he turned to the Samiri. "What drove you to this?" The Samiri's response revealed everything. He claimed insight others did not have, and admitted that he acted upon what his inner self suggested to him. There was no remorse, no humility, only justification. This was arrogance in its purest form, not just rejecting truth, but believing oneself to be above it. The deception was exposed, the illusion was broken, and the people were forced to confront the reality of their actions. The end of the Samiri was not marked by immediate destruction, but by something far more profound. He was condemned to a life of isolation. "Do not touch me," he would say, and others would avoid him. This punishment was deeply symbolic. The man who once drew people toward him was now cut off from all human connection. The one who manipulated hearts was left alone with his own. This was not just a physical punishment, it was a psychological and spiritual consequence. He became a living sign, a reminder that deception may succeed temporarily, but truth always returns. And when it does, it leaves behind consequences that cannot be escaped. The story of the Samiri is not just a historical account, it is a timeless warning. It teaches us that faith requires strength beyond witnessing miracles. Doubt often begins with small, seemingly harmless questions. Deception thrives where knowledge is weak and hearts are unguarded. And the most dangerous misguidance is the one that feels convincing. Above all, it reminds us, truth is not always what is seen, and falsehood is not always obvious. These stories are not meant to be heard. They are meant to awaken.